Hello and welcome to the big picture. Celebrities who endorse various brands of products and services are going to be in for some trouble in the coming days. If the amendments proposed to the Consumer Protection Act is carried out in the next session of Parliament, the celebrities will be liable for punishment up to 5 years in jail and rupees 50 lakhs as fine if the product or service they are endorsing is defective and the advertisement is found to be misleading. The amendments to the Act, which was proposed by the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Food, Consumer Affairs and Public Distribution, has been accepted by the Consumer Affairs Ministry and a draft Cabinet note has been moved and the Law Ministry has cleared the changes. The Cabinet is expected to take up the matter during this week. These amendments puts the onus on the celebrity endorsers to prove their innocence in the case of misleading advertisements. They also will have to prove that they did due diligence before accepting to appear in the advertisement about the product or the services. So what do these amendments mean and how will it impact the advertising standards and industry also? How will the celebrities be affected by these amendments? How effective and practical are these proposed changes? We will look at all these aspects today with Dilip Cherian, founder of Perfect Relations, Shilpi Jain, lawyer in the Supreme Court, and on the phone line from Mumbai is Prahlad Kakkar, a well-known advertising filmmaker. Welcome to all of you. Mr. Kakkar, coming to you first. How do you look at this proposed amendments?
I think it's a very frivolous bill because regardless of what the Law Ministry says, it is going to be very difficult to implement in terms of laying the blame and the onus on the brand ambassadors, because at the end of the day, it's the government who licenses a particular product under FDA and whatever else the checks and balances that they do, and they charge money for that. And they are the ones who actually allow the manufacture of that particular product according to certain standards. So they are just as liable as the manufacturer, because they have to check the product every time to see whether it delivers its promise for whatever it's worth. And if it doesn't deliver its manufacturing license itself, then it's misleading. So then who is to blame for that? Right, it's starting from there. Now, the brand ambassador is not the manufacturer of the product. He has not been licensed by the government to actually produce something of a particular standard. How you would hold him liable? Because all the company has to do is indemnify him from any liability whatsoever, saying that we are responsible for the quality of the product. So how does the brand ambassador get involved? He is only lending his face and his reputation for the delivery of the advertisement.
So Mr.
Kakkar, the
Kakkar,
advertisement is misleading.
Mr. Kakkar, so you think that the celebrity endorser cannot have, there can be no onus on the celebrity endorser as far as the quality of the product is concerned?
Only moral.
Only moral.
It cannot be a legal onus. It can only be a moral onus.
But this is
and therefore there can be a deterrent, but you cannot hold him completely liable.
But that's exactly what these proposed changes, is proposing, that he will have moral, not just moral, but also legal responsibility. I'll come back to you. Please stay on, sir.
The other thing that I want to say, there's one more thing I want to say, is that in another way, if this law is passed, it will be very good for this country, because every politician who makes false promises during election time and does not deliver during his tenure is then liable under the same law.
Okay, that's a point. That's a point. I'm sure many people will agree with you on that. Dilip, how do you look at this? This legal responsibility, is it something which the celebrities will be able to, live up to?
I think that I agree with Prahlad that the responsibility is moral and it is a responsibility. Legal, it's very difficult. Imagine a situation like the brand ambassadors you have pictured in your backdrop. Amitabh Bachchan endorses a chocolate, and one chocolate out of a million chocolates turns out a worm. Is he legally liable for the fact that that chocolate had a worm in it? Or another of your brand ambassadors endorses Tata Sky or any thing, and there's a breakdown in service and he's liable for it. I think it's, you are doing two things. Either you're trying to cut a revenue line for celebrities, which may be the intention of government, maybe these actors are earning too much, Or the other possibility is that you are trying to find a low hanging fruit with which you can blame, so that responsibility which properly belongs to the lawmaker and the bureaucrat who does the signing and the sealing of the license to manufacture, which is what government is supposed to do. So, bureaucrats and politicians, meaning, let us take this to the other extreme. If a politician is inaugurating a bridge which subsequently falls down in the honorable presence of the chief minister of that state, will they also be liable, or will you catch the contractor? I assume that you will catch the contractor as being liable for it. But the fact is that you've endorsed this bridge, you've encouraged the people to use it as a great boon to the two villages which were previously, unvisitable.
Okay, we are joined in now by Pushpa Girimaji. Pushpa is a well-known consumer columnist. Pushpa, why were these amendments thought necessary?
You see, the endorsements by celebrities, the issue is far more serious than what, I mean, I just joined in, I heard a little bit of the conversation. What I do believe is that this is a very serious matter, for the simple reason that today sports personalities and then film stars are endorsing junk food, for example. You see, it's okay if they endorse any product, junk food. I'm talking about, when we are not generally talking about celebrities endorsing products and services, but when they endorse products or when they give misleading information about it, then it becomes, then they have a liability. And similarly, when they promote junk products, for example, junk food, for example, then it's a very serious matter. But because today we all know that junk food is not only causing, childhood obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and other things. Now they are also being, connected with various other problems such as memory loss and then learning deficits and things
that's
like
fine. I agree with that.
But what I'm trying to say
is it something to do only with junk food, or
prevent junk food from being manufactured?
I don't know whether that's
I'm sorry.
possible.
I'm sorry. I disagree. The fact is, when you are preparing, you are selling junk food, but when a celebrity who is very popular and a celebrity endorses it,
Pushpa,
then it affects children. It affects
I entirely agree
and
with.
Particularly, I'm referring to say sports celebrities when they
Pushpa,
endorse
I
something.
entirely agree with your.
The impression is that it's a
second.
very healthy food.
Pushpa, I entirely agree with you that as far as junk food is concerned, and all that you have said is something which everybody understands.
This is like tobacco advertising.
Is it only with? Then it should have been only confined to junk food. Then why with all the other things which will go with the advertising world now? There's so many products being advertised, so many services being advertised. How practical is it that that a celebrity endorser will be able to understand what is the problem behind this, or what kind of a due diligence can a celebrity endorser do to understand the quality of the product?
See, the question is, it's a question of under the law, misleading advertisement is an unfair trade practice.
That's right.
So obviously you cannot, you cannot violate the law. So if your advertisement is misleading, so naturally I would expect a celebrity endorsing a product to find out, to ask the manufacturer to find out information about it before endorsing it. Is it safe? Is it all right? And whether what is being said, is it the truth, or is it not the truth? So I think that much of responsibility the celebrity has to exercise, isn't it?
I'm sure I agree with you, and I'm sure to that extent some kind of a any responsible celebrity will be taking that kind of a due diligence. But I'll come back to you. Shilpi, legally, how tenable are these proposed amendments?
To hold the celebrities liable under the law, you have to show that what they are doing is illegal. Now, in the court of law, to prove that what they are doing is illegal, you will need to bring in some evidence. Misleading is a very subjective word. If it's a whitening cream, some people may show improvement immediately, some may not, and these people are not expected to be experts. Now, I don't know what the exact legislation is. In a very limited manner, of course, in extreme cases, the law can and should come in, which even today, I guess, it will be covered under the IPC for cheating. As in, cheating, I think the law will have to be same if they use the word misleading, that the representation that the model or the brand ambassador is making was false. Now, to say that it was false, he has to know that the representation he is making is false. Now, how will they prove this? If, of course, in extreme cases, like it's a product which is hazardous to health, and they promote it as, you know, high nutritional value and things, there only in a very limited proportion of cases, I think they can be held up, but not in as a general rule. How will you prove the mens rea, the intention and the liability? If I am advertising, say, some property, what kind of a and that property subsequently fails because it's not passed by the concerned authorities. Now, if I am advertising it, am I supposed to, hire a lawyer and find out if everything is in order? And if after my ad some problems come up, how can I be held liable? It's very complicated.
At that point of time, if the lawyer gives advice to the celebrity saying that everything is right,
Yes.
and the lawyer also becomes liable.
See,
later if something there is a problem.
Absolutely, yes. See, there is an Advertising Standards Council of India,
Right.
even today, ASCI, which is active. It's a self-regulatory body which sets in standards which they are presumably, you know, expected to adhere to and follow. Like, you will not advertise a product which is hazardous to health, public health, or you will not, advertise products which knowingly are contrary to, you will make an honest representation. Now, all these are responsibilities of people advertising it. As far as the brand ambassador is concerned, he will only add, I will say, some sensation to it, and that is it. How can you take his word as
The last word.
You are not expected to
at the
take
Advertising
that.
Standards Council, Girish, 80 to 90% of the complaints that we get as the council have
You are in
nothing.
the you are in
Yes,
that
I am on the
council.
council. Have nothing to do with celebrities endorsing it. It has got to do with false and misleading advertising. And let's understand.
And that doesn't involve in most cases celebrities.
80 to 90% of this advertising is just purely false and misleading without any celebrity doing any endorsing. I'll give you a good example. You know, a kid wants to behave like Superman after drinking a particular drink, and he's jumping off a bus, and that is false and misleading. Does not involve a celebrity. And now are you going to go and find this kid and say you are liable because you have encouraged others to jump off
the bus.
Jump off buses? I think that consumers deserve protection. In India, consumer protection is fairly nascent, and therefore we need to have laws which are tighter. But providing easy scapegoats for the lawmakers to go after, or for the law to go after, will just divert attention from the people whose liability it actually is.
Yes, Pushpa.
Yeah, what I would like to say is, let me take an example from ASCII itself. For example, they have found in many cases where, for example, shampoo which says that, oh, if you use this shampoo, your hair won't fall. And they have found that when they have asked the advertiser, is this true? I mean, give us evidence, then they have not been able to give proper evidence. So they have asked them to withdraw such cases. Okay. So in such cases, now that is a misleading advertisement. Now, if a celebrity is issuing such an advertisement, I would expect the celebrity to ask the same question that the ASCII asked. The celebrity can also ask,
if
isn't
they,
it?
and if the, one second,
If it is,
one
if it is
second,
not
one
true,
second. If the
yeah.
manufacturer tells the celebrity,
Yeah.
yes, whatever the hair shampoo, it will not let the hair fall and things like that. Now, what is that the celebrity can do next?
Let her
ASCII
try
has
the
a
hair.
committee
Let
of
her
experts
try the
who
shampoo.
are actually experts in analyzing products. So ASCII has the ability to check whether the product is living up to the promise that the manufacturer is making. A celebrity does not have a testing facility.
Well, a celebrity who takes so much money, the least that she or he can do is use that product and see if it really stops hair fall.
How long?
That's
Well,
That's the
whatever
problem.
the period, at least that's a simple thing that
I'll
can
come
be
back
done.
to you, Pushpa.
You can be more honest in
Let me
whatever
get
you promote.
Prahlad Kakkar. Mr. Kakkar, do you accept that maybe the ASCII, the Advertising Standards Council of India, needs more tightening? Do you think that there are some loopholes there which needs to be filled up? Do you think that ASCII can become can tackle some of these problems which the proposed amendments are making?
ASCII is doing a damn good job, but it can do a better job because they must be given a mandate to be able to predetermine advertising, not post-determine it. You see, what's happening now is that they're not being able to check all the advertising that is due for release. if they were to actually go through the scripts and go through the copy and then ask the relevant questions, then a lot of advertising wouldn't actually appear. But right now, what ASCII does is, it waits for somebody to complain about an advertisement, and then it turns around and does due diligence. In the meantime, 1 month passes. And in 1 month's time, whatever damage has to be done is done. So even ASCII needs to tighten itself to be able to preempt rather than post-empt. And that is very important in terms of actually protecting the consumer to a very large extent. Because only
Small body and
professionals
doesn't have
know
the,
exactly
bandwidth to do
how misleading an ad can be or not. Government bodies actually can't do it unless they send it to some lab like they did with Maggie and were absolutely wrong and got egg in their face. And who's going to pay for the damages of having banned Maggie for 4 months?
Okay. Yes, Pushpa.
Yeah, I fully agree with what he's saying, that there has to be pre-screening so that, you know, these kind of advertisements won't appear at all. And because of this, because such a provision is not there under the Consumer Protection Act as it exists today, for example, there is a provision for corrective advertisement, wherein whenever they find that an advertisement has misled consumers, then there is a provision where the court can direct them to issue a corrective advertisement saying that, well, this advertisement was wrong, and you know, so the same period or the duration when the other advertisement appeared, the false advertisement appeared, for the same duration they will have to advertise the corrective advertisements. So that is one way of, you know, giving or changing the impression that the earlier one created.
No, that's
so
fine.
that is a very
That's the
effective
problem.
way
I think that I don't think anybody
dealing
should
with
have a
such
problem with that.
advertisements.
But the problem is with the celebrity endorsers. Shilpi, it says, the proposed amendment says that, you know, it's a defense if it is proved that the endorser took all reasonable precautions and exercised all due diligence before endorsing a product or service, but mistaken belief shall not be a defense. Now, for instance, the celebrity says that, you know, I was made to believe that this product is so and so, or whatever it is, the effectiveness of it, and I believed it. So that is not enough for him to.
The legislation is very serious business, and from what I can make out from this, they still leave more grey area than we have at the moment.
Yeah.
It will even complicate things more. The language is not at all straight. Now, mistaken belief or otherwise, if I am not an expert in a particular field, there are experts and there are laws with regard to, you know, say Food Adulteration Act and other things which are in place. If I come, I only lend my face or voice to it to maybe add some glamour to it. Now, how I am expected to know the actual, you know, the ground realities of when the people who are supposed to be monitoring that themselves are not aware of it? How am I supposed to hire a team of experts and then go into it? And plus, it's very subjective, as I've said in case of, say, a cream. It may work for some, it may not. To, you know, link liability with most of the cases to make it that, you know, to show that he deliberately did it knowing it was a false representation, to prove it will be very, very complicated in court, and you can't make a man liable legally without going all the way and proving it through evidence that what he did, and the guilty mind and the guilty intention that what he did, he knowingly did it to, you know, defraud people and things like that. How will you go through that entire process?
So you say that you are saying that the law, that these proposed amendments are weak in nature.
Absolutely.
And it can lead to more litigation.
Even today, as the law is, if you can make out a case, then the law of cheating is there. It will apply provided you are able to prove that the representation this man made, he made it knowingly that it is a false representation.
Okay,
Those
yes,
will
Pushpa.
apply only to extreme
Pushpa,
cases.
Pushpa, there is
and the
a-
same law will...
Okay,
Yeah,
Pushpa.
I think
no,
once-
one second,
yeah.
Pushpa. There is something, in the proposed amendments, there is something called the Central Consumer Protection Authority.
Right, yeah.
A new executive agency is going to be, you know, formed,
Yeah,
and
right.
this agency is supposed to take care of first, if the celebrity is supposed to have, you know, violated in the first case, they are supposed to. What is this agency, and how is it going to function?
No, it's basically a regulatory authority. It will have a chief commissioner and then others handling various subjects such as safety issues, unfair trade practices and various other things, and enforcement of law and things like that. So, the agency has the powers. For example, they can drop a national, we do not have a national standards, we are just going by whatever ASCI has drawn up. We can have a proper national advertising standards. And you know what worries me today is that we are just talking about or looking at advertisements that appear on TV or radio or print, but today the advertisements have gone beyond that. If you see, for example,
e-commerce,
celebrity endorsement on, somebody
Online,
will click
online.
a photograph, online. A celebrity will put a picture of her using, eating some junk food. I'm going back to junk food because that's something that really worries me, and saying that, oh, I love this food, and all the followers will think that this is fantastic, then, they would like to eat that. So there it's she or he is not even saying, eat this. It's just a picture saying, oh, I love this, or something like that. So it's going to be far more subtle, but it's going to be far more effective and direct. So we have to look at all these kind of issues.
This agency is expected to come out with some kind of a regulations for e-commerce. Dilip,
Right, yeah.
This agency, is it going to make any difference? Do you think that ASCII and this agency can work in unison and ensure that all these problems can be resolved at that level?
There are two issues which we've discussed here which need to be looked at more seriously. One is this whole dream of having pre-clearance of advertising. There is no modern economy in the world which has pre-clearance of advertising.
Why
It
can't
is not
we have
possible. It is not possible.
Why is it not
because you would have a log jam. Advertising is something that is, one, creative, and two, the sheer volume of it is that you would have to create exactly like you hope to create, for example, for national security to monitor all telephone calls. You would have to have almost an equivalent number of people to pre-screen every advertising that goes on, because don't forget that what Pushpa just pointed out.
There is a certifying authority for films and documentaries.
The
like
numbers
that,
are
you have
limited.
that?
The numbers are limited. If you want modern marketing to happen,
How many
in a
advertisements?
consumer-
Sorry, Dilip. How many ads are made in a month in this country, on an average? I'm hazarding a guess, Yes.
but it would not be less than 20 to 25,000 ads a month. Okay, so to have
In all languages.
to have an authority which looks at it is creating a super bureaucracy. Great idea. If you want full employment in the country, you could probably achieve it by doing that. But seriously, Advertising Standards Council already has a bunch of rules. The problem with the Advertising Standards Council is that its writ runs only as far as television advertising is concerned.
Not print.
Advertising, it cannot force an advertiser to withdraw an ad.
And now, on the new media, and it doesn't exist.
It does not have the writ. So if government were to extend the writ of the ASCII, and it is a self-regulatory body, which is really a small bunch of people, but a large bunch of experts who they consult, it would be a best solution in this.
What about this Central Consumer Protection Authority?
I think what Pushpa has outlined is the beginning of yet one more regulatory authority. We have the TRAI, we have the FRAI, we have the FSSAI. All of them have a role, and protection of the consumer, I believe, is a central role of theirs. But they all falter and fail, either because of weak management or weak technical skills.
Now,
Yes,
about junk
yeah.
food, I will just come in. The panelist has been, giving example of junk food again and again. Now, say any model, brand ambassador, he is advertising for McDonald's or Domino's. These are in the category of junk food, fast food. Now, how can you bring it within the ambit of being an illegal act? Unless just because it is junk food and he says it's yummy, is it not for the consumer to decide for himself? If I want to live on junk food all day, is it an illegal act? I will do it. It suits me. I don't have people to make food at home. It's quick and easy. World over, everybody is living on junk food. I can understand you will set standards like, it doesn't have higher nutritional value
and if you
and
do the
all.
testing, you will find that it has more fat in the bhatura which is sold down the street than the pizza
But
which
it
is baked.
can't be brought within the ambit of being an illegal act just because you promote junk food.
And what is junk food? Is there a
definition
Is there a
of junk
definition
food?
for junk
Of course,
food? Yes, Pushpa. Is there a definition for junk food? Apart from what
look,
you and I
no,
generally know.
Look,
Is there a legal definition?
Yeah, no, what is junk food? Junk food is basically any food that is rich in sugar, you know, things that are not good for the body, rich in fats, rich in
Gulab jamun?
sugar, and you know, various other things. So,
All the street shops will
no,
have to be closed.
there is a certain, there is
They won't touch
considerable
those, they'll only touch the brands.
amount of
Ice
creams.
research, no, considerable research work done to show the effect of this kind of food on people, particularly the children. In fact, it's a matter of great concern that
Ban
today
the
we have
food. You can't
child
ban
obesity
advertisements.
child obesity is a very major problem. So schools, in fact, the state governments all over
but
are
how
saying
we are-
that they should
how-
not
no,
be
no,
sold in
no,
school
no,
canteens.
personal
Fine,
choice of the
Pushpa, but
consumer.
how is a celebrity endorser responsible for all these things?
How will you
Not-
make him legally
you know,
liable?
When something, Girish, I'll give you an example of tobacco. Okay, tobacco kills six.
Anyway,
Tobacco is
there's
not
no,
junk.
no more
Tobacco
advertising of
kills.
tobacco anywhere.
No, one
Anyway.
second. I'm just giving an example. I'm comparing. Tobacco kills 6 million people today annually, whereas junk food, that is all the non-communicable diseases caused by junk food today, it's estimated kills
Yeah, but
11
all that
million
is
people.
fine, Pushpa.
No,
I
no,
don't
no.
think anybody
How
has
do
So
you
any.
define it legally?
let me
How,
complete.
how are we going to legally
So, yeah,
make this person
No, this
responsible?
is, yeah.
How is he going to have
how
the
did you
onus?
make, no, how did you make those who endorse cigarettes responsible?
You can't
how did
compare
you do
junk
it?
food.
Similarly,
Cigarette
this
is
is what
hazardous
it
to
is.
life. There is a
Today,
scientific
people
evidence.
Just
No.
as when cigarette and, you know, when people started talking about banning cigarette advertisements, this is exactly how people argued. You know, what is wrong with it? We are all smoking. Nothing has happened.
no.
It's
So-
only
so-
so
so
I'm
what is
saying
it?
this is
So
the
why
same
can't you
thing
stop
as
the
far as
manufacture of
junk
the
food is
product?
concerned.
Why are you hitting
Junk-
at the advertising stage? You want to collect the excise on it, you want to get the employment on it, but you only want to stop the advertising on it.
Yes.
I think that
Yes, because the
I think that
We-
if,
we are
if
not
a product
we are
is known
talking-
to be
no.
causing obesity, then you should ban its production.
But
I mean,
some people
gulab
like to
jamun,
be
as she
obese.
said.
Some
Yeah.
people like to be obese, for heaven's sake.
Don't mind being obese, not
Yeah,
like to be
okay.
obese.
And they're happy.
If
the way
somebody
they are.
doesn't want to be
Okay,
healthy,
okay,
then it's
Pushpa,
their business.
sorry,
But we should promote such unhealthy food. That's
No, that's
all.
not a.
No, that-
And
Right.
not through
Prahlad,
celebrities.
Prahlad,
you know.
Kakkar, last words to you. You think that there's something can be done at the celebrity level to ensure that he or she is not promoting a product which is not good?
No, if the product is not good, it should not be licensed to be produced. Period. Because it's bad, it's toxic, it's harmful. And any processed food, any food that is processed is considered junk food. And that is 80% of all the foods on the shelves. So are we going to ban the lot?
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you. I think on that note we'll end. But you know, this is not a issue which can be sorted out so easily. We'll wait and watch when this proposed changes come to the Parliament. What kind of discussion what kind of discussion will take place? How it will be passed? We'll have to wait and watch. Anyway, I hope there will be more discussions and debate on this so that it will be fine-tuned further. Thanks to all my guests. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue in the big picture same time.